The man had only slipped into a fish tank by accident, yet his scalp instantly went numb with fear. He suffered from a bizarre condition. His body had shrunk to 1/1000th of its original size. To him, even tiny fish now looked like towering beasts. Luckily, the tank held nothing more dangerous than a goldfish, not some vicious predator. That stroke of luck was the only reason Nick survived. The basement, however, was dark and damp and crawling with spiders. If he didn't want to end up as spider food, he had to act fast. Nick hoisted a bottle cap over his head, inching forward and trying to trap the spider beneath it. What he didn't expect was how sharp the spider's instincts were. It sensed the danger immediately and refused to fall for the trick. As the spider crept closer, Nick pulled a sewing needle from his belt, ready to fight, but he had badly underestimated his opponent. Forced to retreat, he ducked into a corner, only for the spider to circle around and close in from behind. At the most critical moment, Nick's hand brushed against a small twig on the floor. With all his strength, he stabbed it straight into the spider's head, narrowly escaping death. Still, he knew there was no way that was the only spider in the basement. Looking for protection, Nick gathered scraps of cardboard and found a box of matches. He planned to start a fire to keep the spiders away, but his strength was pitifully weak. He struck the matches again and again, failing every time. Nick refused to give up. After countless attempts, he finally managed to light one. With a flame burning nearby, he finally began to relax. As the days passed, though, his body continued to shrink. Before long, he was barely the size of an ant. One day, he heard footsteps above the basement. Without hesitation, Nick rushed forward and screamed for help, but his tiny body meant a tiny voice, no louder than a mosquito's buzz. Humans couldn't hear him at all, and he was nearly crushed underfoot. Only then did Nick realize the person was a real estate agent. It was obvious that after he'd been trapped in the basement, his wife had sold the house. When he saw the goldfish lying dead from starvation, Nick was overwhelmed by despair. Was he destined to end the same way, forgotten and dead? Just then, he heard the familiar buzz of a mosquito overhead. Watching it escape easily through the window, Nick suddenly understood the window was his only way out. Because of his tiny size, the grain of the wood looked like massive ridges. Even climbing onto a table felt like scaling a 100-meter cliff. Still, driven by sheer determination, he climbed inch by inch until he finally reached the tabletop. But once again, a terrifying problem stood before him. How was he supposed to cross the abyss ahead? Realizing there was no turning back, Nick clenched his teeth and decided to risk everything.